Are you an overachiever? The kind of person who's always doing a million things at once, is always focused on achievement and accomplishing more, has really high expectations for themselves, and can often be a perfectionist, and is always going above and beyond on things? Now, there's nothing wrong with being an overachiever. However, sometimes being stuck in that pattern can then leave you little room to practice self-care and to care for your basic needs, physical, emotional, and mental health. And if your achievement is coming at the expense of that self-care, then you might be sorely missing out on the things that you need to function at your best. So stay tuned to learn simple self-care tips geared towards overachievers so you can feel your best. This is episode number 93. Welcome to Calmly Coping. My name is Tati, and I'm a licensed therapist and coach specializing in high-functioning anxiety. I help high achievers overcome anxiety, stress, and overwhelm so they can finally stop overthinking everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this topic interests you, then please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I release a new episode. So first, let's dive in by talking about the definition of self-care, because I love starting with definitions to make sure we're all on the same page. So Oxford Dictionary defines self-care as the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. So that's a broad definition and can include many things. So let's simplify it. So first, why might it be difficult to practice self-care as an overachiever, as a high achiever? The first is because you're focused on achievement, doing, busyness, saying yes to more, and this inevitably leaves self-care coming last. If you're always focused on achievement and doing more, then the rest is going to fall to the wayside. And maybe you also feel lazy to be practicing self-care. Because you're so focused on accomplishments, it might feel like if you're practicing self-care, then you're not working towards achievements and doing more. And your busy schedule just might make it harder to find any time for self-care. So maybe because you have so much going on, again, self-care goes to the back burner. And it might be hard to say no to others because you enjoy helping others and you struggle with disappointing them. And again, this leaves less time for self-care. Additionally, if you're an overachiever, the focus can be on what you haven't yet accomplished. And this might leave you always wanting more and get stuck in that cycle of just wanting to achieve one thing after the next and neglecting your self-care. And additionally, you might hold limiting beliefs such as hard work equals success, or taking breaks or resting is lazy. All of these things that then make it harder for you to feel justified taking care of yourself. So here's the things that happen when you don't practice self-care. So increased stress, burnout, anxiety, overwhelm, frustration, resentment, maybe towards your job, towards those in your family, towards the people you have to care for, depression. So the outcomes of not taking time for self-care can be serious. And in the long run, if you continue to neglect your self-care, then it can put you in the place where you might be struggling with significant mental health issues. Now, I don't want that for you. So let's talk about the benefits of taking time for self-care. So one of the benefits is, of course, improved mental health because you're taking time to care for yourself. Another benefit is increased self-worth because the act of taking care of yourself will communicate to yourself that I'm worthy of being taken care of. I'm worthy of putting time and energy towards myself. And this can also increase your confidence because you're actually taking care of your needs. And maybe that's basic hygiene or getting your nails or hair done, or maybe it is doing things that you enjoy. This is going to allow you to feel more confident because, again, you're putting that time and energy into yourself. One of the other benefits of self-care is lowered stress levels and an improved ability to cope with stress, in addition to decreased anxiety and an improved ability to cope with difficult emotions, along with increased resiliency. And this is your ability to bounce back after difficult things happen in your life. Additionally, it provides an opportunity for you to model for your children, for your family, for your partner. When you're caring for yourself and other people in your family or in your life see this, that's a great way to model that for them so that they can recognize that that's an important part of taking care of your needs. And practicing self-care can also result in increased focus and productivity. So Before we get on to simple steps to practice self-care, I want to talk about my high functioning anxiety quiz. If you haven't taken it yet, then it will give you a rating of if you're struggling with high functioning anxiety, along with personalized resources based on your score of what the next steps to take are. So you can get that by going to hfaquiz.com. So now let's talk about simple steps to practice self-care as an overachiever. So step one is to reflect. So I want you to think of what is your day and routine like now? When are you taking time for yourself? Do you have hobbies? Do you have free time? Are you caring for your basic needs? Sometimes it can even just start with, are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating healthy? Are you eating nutritious meals, and are you eating regularly? Are you practicing regular hygiene? Are you taking time for hobbies and things you enjoy? And are you taking time where you aren't thinking about work and responsibilities? So just reflect on what's going on for you now. Then step two is to identify the type of self-care that you would like to start with. So what would you like to do for yourself? And what do you think is important and a good place for you to begin? So self-care can include different categories. It can include physical, emotional, creative, caring for your space, your spirituality, your social life. So identify what type of self-care you want to focus on. So maybe it's starting with your basic needs if you're in a place of burnout and feeling really anxious and overwhelmed. And maybe if you're feeling a little better, maybe it's starting with integrating a hobby or something that you want to learn that's new or something that you enjoy. Or if you enjoy spending time with others, maybe it's more time socializing and interacting with people. So identify where you want to start. You can get some suggestions by going to, I have another episode on 8 types of self-care you need when you have anxiety. You can click in the corner if you're watching on YouTube, and I have the link in the show notes if you're listening to the podcast. So here's some examples. So when it comes to hobbies, maybe something that's not too stressful or something that you've already done in the past that you can start up again, and maybe something that will allow you to bring your attention into the present moment. So some examples might be playing an instrument, learning a language, arts and crafts, maybe it is coloring, or if you enjoy something like coding or spending your time on the computer, reading a book or going for a walk or exercise, doing something that you enjoy. I also want you to think of what seems like fun for you. Like when over the last summer, I wanted to start something new and I bought a pair of rollerblades and got back into rollerblading because that was something that I really enjoyed as a child. What are things that you used to enjoy doing when you were a child or when you had free time, or how would you want to be spending your free time? Step 3 is to start small. So I want you to not try to do too much at once, and that's probably your MO as an overachiever. You probably want to do all the things, go all in and do everything at once. And I want you to hold back from that, because when it comes to making long-term progress, taking small baby steps is what is going to help you to stick to those changes in the long run. So I want you to just pick one activity and start making time for it regularly. So maybe that is 15 to 30 minutes, 3 to 5 days per week. And just start with that and just notice how you feel after making that small change. Step 4 is to schedule time for it. So put it in your calendar, set an alarm, remind yourself. And this is going to help you to stay accountable. And you can also find other ways to stay accountable if you need it. Maybe it is telling a family member or a friend that's going to do it with you, or finding some other way that will help you to stay accountable to this change if you struggle with sticking to things. And step 5 is to be present. So I want you to, as much as you can, when you're practicing the self-care, let go of worries, let go of thinking about the future, about stress, just be there. So I want you to choose something that's going to allow you to be there. So I love playing the piano. I kind of go on and off with it, and I've been off of playing it for a while. I'm hoping to go back into it. But when I am playing, I notice that I really get pulled into the moment, and I can really be fully present and experience the music. And it allows me to just stop thinking about anything else. For some people, that's workout, or, going to the gym, or going for a run, or going for a walk, or doing something creative like art, like doing painting or drawing or writing. For some people, it might be something different. It might be practicing self-care by going to get a massage or a spa day, or doing a face mask on your own and doing those types of self-care. Do something that's going to allow you to disconnect, take that time for yourself and just notice how it feels. And I want to add one reminder to let go of the pressure that you put on yourself when it comes to practicing self-care. I don't want you to focus on the outcome of, okay, well, when I start practicing this or learning this, when am I going to get to the point where I'm really good at it or, get stuck in a place of perfectionism? Because that's going to make it unenjoyable. So I want you to focus on really enjoying it and just doing it for the process and what it feels like, and just focus on the journey of practicing self-care rather than the outcome of what it's going to look like or be like when you're quote unquote done. And if you want more support on that, in next week's podcast episode, I'm talking all about why you're so hard on yourself. So definitely subscribe if you want to be notified when that episode comes out. So your action tip is to take these steps that I've gone through and put them into action, because nothing changes if you don't change. So start practicing self-care this week and see what you notice. And I'd love if you are watching on YouTube, if you leave me a comment below and let me know what type of self-care activity you're going to start implementing in your life. While you wait for next week's episode, I have other episodes about decreasing anxiety, adopting a healthy mindset, and managing your time and energy. So you can check out these episodes here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, be calm.